Hi, friends. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Katie, and welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today we're recapping and chatting about Once Upon a Time, episode 219, Lacey. This episode aired on April 21st, 2013. It was written by Eddie Kitsis and Adam Horowitz, and was directed by Milan Chalov. Before we get into our recapping and chatting, let's go into a synopsis for the episode. In the Enchanted Forest. Now that Belle is indentured to Rumpelstiltskin, she is forced to keep his home tidy and clean up after his messes. When a thief is caught after trying to steal a wand from him, he's tortured until Belle sets him free. The Dark One forces her to come with him as they hunt down the thief, Robin Hood, and discover that he stole the wand to save his pregnant wife. Rumple misses his target, showing Belle that there is a man behind the beast he pretends to be. And in Storybrooke, the magic beans are nearly ready to harvest, and now Emma has a decision to make, whether to go with her family or stay in the land that is her home. Regina finally discovers that Gold's son is Henry's father, and she thanks him for this revelation in the form of getting Belle to regain her memories. But instead of returning her to Belle, she triggers a curse persona in the form of Lacey, a scantily clad barfly who'd rather play pool than read a book. Gold tries to get Lacey to fall for him by being the man Belle wanted him to be, but Lacey has a way of bringing out the worst in the Dark One rather than the best. And now Greg and Tamara's plan is starting to take shape as they start the next phase of their plan in Storybrooke by including Captain Hook.
I'm excited for Hook to be coming back. It's felt weird without, ever since he started with the show, I'm just like, where is he? But like you said, he broke his foot. So
yeah, at some point, he broke his foot. So they really had to be strategic with him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's back for good at this point because he's the last bit of that 5-man band. We'll see a shot of them in the season 3 premiere, but really he's the last missing piece of their 5-man band.
Oh, I'm so ready. It's gonna be exciting.
Ironically, he's the smart guy, according to my. I'll go through my.
That sound ironic.
When we talk about, I'll do my whole analogy and I'll go through that whole analysis when we talk about Heart of the Truest Believer. But
we're just gonna have to make that whole section a clip so I can put it out there in the world so you can explain this 5-man band to everybody.
Yes. I've talked about the different the tropes that are involved in the 5-man band on Bob's Burgers. I think
you have
in one episode.
I feel like I just need both of them so I can put them on YouTube.
Okay,
just to put us out there more. I think it'd be really funny.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Yeah, when you think about it, but in context of everybody else, that really is where he fits. Especially I would say it's going to make more sense after you watch the season 3 premiere.
Well, I have to say, most of your main characters in this are not the smartest people.
This is true. He's always got a plan. That's my thing. Is why
he's a pirate.
He's a pirate.
You have to be prepared.
He's got strategy. He kind of knows what he's doing. Compared to everybody else, he's the smart guy.
I'm excited. I'm just excited, but
it's gonna take time.
I was really excited for this episode too, though. I've been waiting for Lacey for a hot minute, and after that last episode, I needed this. So I'm glad. I liked how they opened it. I was like, an item from the shop. That seems fun until I realized it was a dream. But still, I was like, this is fun. Maybe he actually does like that. That's his grandchild. And then the wand and then everything else. And I'm like, dear God. Okay, Gold. We're doing this.
What's really funny is now that I never put this together before. But in his dream sequence where he turns Henry to porcelain and then smashes him, we're going to see that actually happen to somebody. He can actually do that.
It's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, my. I did love the line, though. You didn't get the birth announcement, did you?
Yeah. Well, because it makes perfect sense that we actually see that scene. Because truthfully, and Emma's not wrong in that they were a little busy trying to keep Regina and Cora from killing them all. She has no way of knowing Neil is Henry's father until someone explicitly tells her. So, the fact that it's through Gold and, that's kind of what triggers her to, trigger Lacey, the curse persona. And now you see what I mean when I say her curse persona is really more meant intentionally just to fuck with Gold rather than actually be what she would look like.
Yeah.
But it makes perfect sense for how that dynamic works.
I like Lacey.
She's fun to look at.
And to listen to, that voice.
I love her accent so much.
I love that accent.
I wish I could do it better. I wish I could do it justice, but I can't.
I had that fun moment of like, okay, ooh, who's this new person? And then in all caps, I just have Lucifer. I was like, this was another situation. I was texting you while I was watching, and I was, we were talking while I was watching.
Yeah, we were body doubling situation while you were watching.
And I just remember yelling Lucifer, and you're like, what? I'm like, it's Lucifer.
And then it occurred to me what you were seeing, because our guest star, our main guest star for this episode, as I mentioned, was Robin Hood, played by Tom Ellis, who most people would know from the TV series Lucifer.
Who plays Lucifer?
Robin Hood continues on the show. Now you can see him on my wall. Oh,
is that him?
So that is Robin Hood. That is not Tom Ellis.
Aw.
Unfortunately, when they do bring Robin back in season 3, he's recurring for a few seasons, and then he's going to be main cast in season 5. They do recast him. I couldn't figure out what project he might have been in the way. It wasn't Lucifer. That's too many years.
That's too long ago.
Because that was, I think, 2015 was when Lucifer started, according to his IMDb. And this is 2013, and then 2013, 2014 is when they would have needed him for recurring. It was just scheduling conflicts. They just weren't able to get him.
There was no way they'd be filming that by then unless he already knew he was taking the project on and was like, ooh, I can't do both.
Yeah, I don't know. So ultimately, there was something in the way that they couldn't bring back Tom Ellis. But I like the guy that they recast him as, and he has very good chemistry with everyone he needs to have good chemistry with, which is important, I think. And
he's him.
Yeah, he's like, so Sean Maguire is the guy that will take over for Robin Hood, and he's like, with the people that are important to his story arc, he's still great friends with all of them. Like,
awesome.
You love to see that, and I'll explain after we've met him and you see where he fits in the story, because there's more than just being Robin Hood. We'll see how this all plays, and I can expand, but this is more of a season 3 thing, which, to be fair, is
we're almost there.
You'll he I believe is in the first episode.
Okay,
I think more about him is important in 303, and I'm pretty sure he's in the first episode.
After the recast, it's fine. I'll just go watch Lucifer. I can still get my fill. Of that lovely man.
Here's my thing with the recast, though, and this is something that I'll yell about again in season 4.
Of course.
They felt the need to include in an episode of season 4 why he looks different, and I kind of wish they just ignored it.
Just do the recast.
Because here's the thing. In season 3, Belle recognizes him as the new actor. But in season 4, they put in a thing of, like, that next time Rumpelstiltskin sees me, I'll look different. Or he won't recognize me. So they put in if Belle recognizes him, then there was no reason for them to put in any mind. Like, it's literally, if they left out that one line in that episode,
it'd be fine.
It would not have mattered. But they felt the need to put in a line to justify why he looks different. But that negates, if Belle recognizes him, why did they put that in there? I wish they had just not acknowledged it.
That's really frustrating. I can't. Yeah. No, don't point it out. Just do the recast. Do a silent recast. Like, it's okay.
There doesn't need to be a reason why you recast somebody. Like, in world.
And, like, there's other ways to do it, too, without really saying too much. I mean, like, he doesn't get killed off, just recast. It's not like a Charm situation where they literally kill a character off.
Yeah. And, I mean, because Rose McGowan's character is completely different.
Yeah. Because you can't replace Shannon Doherty as the same character with Rose McGowan. That would not... Yeah. They look completely different.
That's not how that works. I will say there's one time that a show did recast a character and they did kind of put in an in-world justification that worked, and that was Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Santino Fontana was Greg in the first 2 seasons, and then when he booked, I think it was the workshop for Tootsie, which worked for him because he ended up winning a Tony for that. So he left Crazy Ex-Girlfriend mid-season 2 for that, which, like, kudos to him. They recast him with Skylar Astin in season 4. And basically the justification was because for those who don't know the premise of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, part of it is following the mental health journey of the main character. Mm-hmm. And basically everyone else is saying that's what he, like, when he comes into Skylar Astin, he's like, everyone's like, that's what he always looked like. And, like, it's because the whole thing is her kind of looking back on everything else. It's how people change as you think about them, and also where she is mentally. She's much mentally healthier, so now she's seeing him as he actually is.
That's cool.
That's a good way to point out that he looks different to the viewer, because the viewer is through her lens. Mm-hmm. But everyone else is like, that's what he always looked like. But now she's, like, seeing him actually as he is, and not like the way she was seeing him when she was not in the most mentally healthy space.
I think the one recast I've seen, I've actually never watched the show Interview with a Vampire, but I keep getting clips and seeing information about it because internet exists. And I heard that they did recast the girl that plays Claudia.
I saw that.
But that makes sense because Claudia is supposed to be stuck at that age, and the actress is going to age since you have to use someone who's essentially a teenager. Yeah. Like, you can't keep people from aging. Vampires do not, in fact, exist. So, like, there are situations where it works. I've seen some people happy about the recast, too, because it sticks to the storyline a little bit better so that she still looks young.
Exactly.
Like,
but you're not wrong. Vampires are in fact fictional.
Yeah, those are fictional. We can't cast vampires as much as I mean, Keanu Reeves exists, but
he does.
It was him and Paul Rudd. I swear they don't age.
Correct.
They don't age, and it's scary. We rewatch Friends at least like once a year because that's who we are. And every time I see Paul Rudd, I swear I could turn on Ant-Man and he looks exactly the same. It's scary. Mm-hmm. I did put also, no one can make me hate Regina. They can't. Like, everything she does, I'm like, justified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is my problem with morally gray characters.
Yeah. Well, was the TikTok video that I did, that was the that's my girl, that's my lady, like, no, I love you. It's just like Regina Mills just existing and likely doing something truly heinous.
I'm okay with it.
It's my girl. I'm a Regina apologist for most things. Really, the Graham thing is the one thing that I'm like, blame the writers because they made a stupid decision.
I find myself yelling a lot, just let her be mommy, and that's my own mental illness there, but still, let her be mommy. It's okay.
Yeah, that's what's really then in the next episode, it's gonna be something I'm like, oh, that's actually really sad the way she says it, because like when you think about it, she's like, because she's telling Henry what her plan is, what she's doing, and at the end he goes, why did you even tell me all this? And she went, well, I have no one else to talk to.
Oh, Regina!
She doesn't. She really doesn't.
Well, her mom's dead.
Her mom is dead. Her ally was Captain Hook, and he's doing whatever the hell it is he's doing right now. Graham's dead, and she really has no one else to talk to. We'll see that in the next episode. But
it's sad. Oh my god,
it's very sad. But also we'll get to see a lot of Evil Queen in the next episode. To be fair, because the next episode is in fact called The Evil Queen.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I had a feeling.
I mean, if we didn't see her in that episode, I would be concerned. But let's get back to Lacey.
Yeah, Tamara and Owen make me feel super fucking uncomfortable. I have to call him Owen or I get confused, in all honesty.
I mean, Owen Greg is the same person.
He's the same person. It's like charming. I guess all the names. We have so many names.
We never got justification, I don't think. And if we did, it was in the finale, and I must have just blocked it out as to why he changed his name. Like, why he changed, like, from, like, Owen to Greg.
Yeah. It's a lot of beans. It's a lot of beans.
It's a lot of magic beans.
I love the name of the bar. The Rabbit Hole. Mm-hmm. I love it. That's perfect. Honestly,
it really is. The bartender was so funny when he was like kept like just shitting on the bar. He went, "You're really not a fan of the Rabbit Hole, huh?" It's like, yeah, we could probably stand to clean it up a little bit.
I did right, and I'm in love with Lacey because at this moment we get to see her playing pool and her hair's up and the cute little shirt. Like, even her personality though, like watching through it and her just being like, I give no shit. Like, she gives no fucks. And the whole time I'm just like, this is my kind of woman. I am weak. And then I wrote, I'm too bi for this episode, because between seeing Robin Hood and Belle and Lacey and then Regina, because at that point, after I wrote that, I wrote just a very simple sentence of Regina in boots. That's it. That's all I wrote.
Isn't that Regina in boots? That's got to be the scene in her office, I'm assuming.
It is. And I'm just sitting here like, I am no better than a man. But yeah, no, this episode very much was bi chaos for me. Mm-hmm. I have no shame. Let's just go with that.
This is our platform. There's no shame to be had here.
Nope. And then I did like the line, just a little landscaping from Leroy. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then I you read too many books, dearie, and I wrote, never. Obviously.
The limit does not exist.
Yes. Oh, you'll like this one. I put charming as Rumple's wingman wasn't on my bingo card.
When you put the two of them together, that really is like such an odd pairing. I mean, it does go back to like Bobby has said the whole time. Anytime you put the two of them together, he plays it as David is the kind of man Rumple wants to be, which is an interesting dynamic. But I had been watching this fresh off of Bridgerton, so I was like, why is he chaperoning this date? This is hilarious.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I never thought of that way. It's just such a weird.
It's an odd pairing because like you don't expect it. But to be fair, they are Henry's grandfathers.
God, that's so fucking weird. Weird. I'll get used to it.
It's a fun. You'll get used to the family tree with enough time for the family wreath. You'll get used to it basically in time for it to get fucked up again because next season you're introduced to 2 more branches. Season 4, not biological, but there's
at least if we don't go like Game of Thrones level of like of a family tree, I think I'm good.
Well, there's no actual incest. Like this is my thing.
Actual.
This is the thing. This is my thing with this. This is the joke I make all the time when people ask me about like Rumple being Regina's father, and I'm like, no, like absolutely not. But like, because then the joke I make is usually either they make out on screen, this is not Star Wars, or they make out on screen, this is not Game of Thrones. Like it's. People just don't watch the show. But like, to be fair, the 2 of them making out is season 6. But there's another.
I have time then.
You've got time to just steel yourself for that. There's another character that he makes out with on screen that people, for some reason, still ask me if he's her father, and I'm just like, did we watch the same TV show?
The only child he has parented is Bayfire, right? Bellfire?
Currently, yes. Bay is his only biological child.
Currently. Lovely.
Currently.
Ew.
Like he by the end of the show, one time someone asked me if he's Emma's father, and I'm like, how did you come to that conclusion? How?
From episode 1, we know Charming is Emma's father.
Exactly. I don't know, but again, this is the thing. So this isn't a spoiler. You know that Jennifer Goodwin gets pregnant at some point.
Yeah, I know.
So they write the first pregnancy into the show.
Mm-hmm. Because like they had gotten married and everything, and it makes sense to write her pregnancy. And I'd already known she got pregnant.
They have a son whom they name Neil. I'm not going to explain why.
I figured that part out as well, because you were like, oh, the baby is the same name as another character. And I'm like, they're not going to name the kid Henry?
No. So the kid's name is Neil. So people, for whatever reason, when they watch the show, they're just clearly not paying attention, because people came to the conclusion when they say Neil is her brother, they think they mean Balefire. I'm like, what? Which is how they've come to the same conclusion that he's her father. I'm like, what? How? Like, literally, how do you, like, you have to, like, actively ignore all of the show to miss that context.
It's like, how much fan fiction have you read to come to this conclusion?
I don't know.
Non-canonical.
But, like, every time I see these comments, I'm like, you need to be actively ignoring the show. Like, this is beyond a lack of media literacy skills. This is beyond not paying attention. You need to actively decide by yourself that he is, like, that they're brother and sister, instead of using context clues. Then when they talk about Neil, her brother, they're talking about the infant.
Good night. Oh, this is a fun fandom. I say it's lovingly. Following that, though, I did write in all caps, "Ew, not his tongue." Perfect timing. Yes.
I just took a sip of water.
Okay, I'm awake now.
Luckily, I didn't swallow. I was fine. But, yeah, for some reason, taking out Nottingham's tongue twice. It was... Rumple's got some kind of body part fetish. I don't know.
Yeah, you could say that. I appreciated that, God damn it. I did appreciate that, it showed a little bit of Rumple not being completely heartless. Not, because she's pregnant and all those other things that it's not supposed to miss, all that happening. And then I'm like, of course, Regina finds the beans. Duh. Yeah. And then I wrote, can we please stop with the tongue? Like, has it happened again?
Yeah.
And I did write, look, I like Lacey. Mm-hmm. I will never like these two people together. Belle and Rumple are just... I don't know if I'll ever be okay with it.
That's fair.
But I like Lacey, and I have a weird feeling that him and Lacey are going to work better than technically how him and Belle do in my own viewpoint.
I think so, because this is the case of she embraces the dark parts of him. Like, the whole, like, the through line through the episode was... Because you had the parallel from both the flashback and the current timeline when she says, you really are as dark as people say. And he goes, darker, dearie, much darker. Like, Lacey embraces the dark parts of him, whereas Belle, she embraces the good parts of him, which is good, while basically trying to tell him that, the dark isn't you. Like, no, the dark is him. He's been the dark one for 200 years. Like, the darkness is a part of him. Yes, there's a man in there also, but the darkness, like, she's almost like being like, the darkness doesn't need to take its hold on you. It's not a part of you. Like, it's to be fair, yes, the darkness is its own separate entity that in fact does have its hold on his body. But, like, that's a world building thing for season 5. Like, it's a part of him. He's embraced it, and Lacey also embraces it.
They're like symbiotic at this point.
Yeah, at this point. Like,
it's like a Venom situation.
Exactly. So, like, Lacey, while she's not thrilled with the good parts of him, and maybe we should strive to, like, focus on the good parts of ourselves versus the dark parts of ourselves, she embraces pretty much all of him over Belle, where Belle kind of wants to pick one part of him than the other.
Which is not how true love works, so...
No, not.
But then I wrote, okay, I'm happy with this, because Hook's back. Like, that's how I ended on this. I'm like, oh, they're totally about to fuck shit up. I'm okay with this. That's how I ended on that. Because Hook's back.
Because Hook's back, yeah. We'll see how they plan to include him in the next episode.
Seeing as he's tied up, it'll be interesting.
Well, we're gonna see. This is, I think I told you, the broken clock tower. They're gonna make use of that. They're gonna make use of that set next week.
I am here for that.
Yeah, but this episode is all over the place for me. Surprisingly. I mean, again, I too love Lacey, and she's a lot of fun to watch. And this episode has a lot of fun one-liners and stuff like that. Before I get into my chaos notes, I'll go through the fun facts. As you mentioned, the wands and everything in the beginning. Blue's wand is on display in that slew of them because it is technically a dream. That's not a continuity error. It's just he's imagined having taken all of her power, basically.
He's not a huge fan of the fairies, so I'm not surprised.
Exactly. According to the ABC's website, the book that Belle was reading before he tells her that she reads too much and he poofs it away is titled "The Rise and Fall of Galaga," which is a reference to the video game Galaga.
Okay.
Eddie and Adam are big video game nerds. Like, I think like one of like the production company things at the end is, I'm pretty sure is a Galaga like reference.
Nice.
Apparently, Emily DeRavin kept one of the matchboxes from the rabbit hole as a set souvenir.
Oh,
which, like, I would do that too, personally.
It's so small, like, no one's gonna miss it.
Exactly. But, like, that's the thing, like, with stealing stuff from sets, like, everyone, like, asks actors that. They're like, no, I didn't take anything, like, wink, wink, and I'm like, truthfully, I would take everything. Like, does it fit in my bag? Like, I would have taken a book, I would have taken... Let's see what else. I think Lana took a couple of outfits by the end of the series.
But the outfits are nice.
Yeah, like the Evil Queen outfits. I don't know how she snuck that out. I'm assuming someone had to have given it to her.
Yeah, that's not one you can just sneak out unless she's just like, okay, I'm gonna go, and just gets in her car and drives off while it's still in costume. Like, basically,
I say think. I'm sure she's mentioned somewhere like if she actually has or not, but like. I would take all of that. I think like bits. Everyone's like taking like bits and pieces here and there. Like, I'd be shocked if Robert Carlyle doesn't have a dagger or stuff like that.
Be cool if he still had the cane.
That would be cool. The cane that he continues to beat people with.
I mean, okay, he uses it to walk too. It's multi-purpose.
He doesn't need it. Like, at this point, like, he really doesn't need it because it's tied to his magic. He's still using it, I think, because he's clinging to like some part of himself. But like, we're gonna see in season 3, he just stops using it. If he's in a realm of magic, he just stops using it. And Storybrooke is technically a realm of magic.
I mean, well, I guess he does need it since he's beating people with it.
Yes, he's using it, but like he's using it as a cane, like to walk the way that he was under the curse. Like he's leaning on it like a crutch, but it's just like, dude, this. Because at one point we're gonna see in season 4. We're going to see him literally like walk through like a barrier and there's magic and he's walking just fine. And he just flings it behind him. It's very dramatic.
I mean, it's Rumpelstiltskin.
It is Rumpelstiltskin. But we'll see more of that in coming seasons. This one's not so much a fun fact, more of I had you watch the promo that was the promo for Lacey. Because something I said, I think last week, was that something had been something had been promoted leading up to Lacey that we ended up not seeing for 6 weeks, and that was Regina being electrocuted.
Yeah, I was like,
we really like electrocution on this show for some reason.
That was my first comment to you of like, so we're just gonna keep with the electrocuting.
Yeah, because like the promo really did. Like after having watched it again, the promo really didn't have a whole lot from Lacey. Like,
yeah,
when I really looked at it, a lot of what was in that promo was the last episodes of the season as well as episode 20. So it's weird that this was a promo for Lacey, but the way that the episodes aired, so this was immediately after Selfless, Brave, and True, which aired at the end of March of that year. Mm-hmm. This episode didn't air until the end of April. So there was about 4 weeks between them. And then because there's episode 20 and then episode 21, the way that works out, Regina being electrocuted was promoted 6 weeks before we ever actually saw what happens. Like,
ooh.
we had to wait 6 weeks knowing that.
Well, I just
you have
saw
to wait
it now.
3 weeks. But...
I have to wait 3. That's not too bad. I can survive that long.
Because we're skipping next week. Mm-hmm. So then you're going to watch 19. Yes, you'll have 3 weeks before you have to see that whole thing, but you'll get to watch the whole finale at once.
Yes, but I do. I'm so happy.
You do. But it's just like that was of all like the times that they promote things, like what I said with like the Miller's Daughter one, where I really feel like the promo kind of spoiled the episode at the end of the day. Like sometimes I'm like, what? This wasn't a promo for Lacey. This was a promo for the finale, mm-hmm. which is odd that they're promoting that 2 months before you ever see any of it, or 3 months.
Yeah, they should have waited a little bit longer and not up to like leading up to Lacey at all. That would have worked a lot better.
But at the very least, this should have been the promo for the Evil Queen over Lacey. Like,
yeah.
Other than the Robin Hood thing, there wasn't really anything else, I would say, in the and seeing Lacey as Lacey, there wasn't really anything else in the promo. It was a minute-long promo, too.
Yeah.
So they're like, and I would say maybe 10 seconds of it actually had footage from this episode, which I just find odd.
They're just, torturing their fans for fun.
Mm-hmm. Basically. Sounds
like a Once Upon a Time thing to do.
Yeah, that sounds accurate. They do that a lot.
Hence making me watch Rumpelstiltskin kiss people.
Yes. But you were saying before about how you don't really like Rumple and Belle as the Beauty and the Beast. I never like the fact that he relies so heavily on Belle to bring out the best in him, because he truthfully doesn't trust his own moral compass at this point, because he knows that the darkness is a part of him. And like Regina says to him, you always choose the darkness. And in the beginning of the next season, he's going to say, he's like, I generally choose the wrong path. Mm-hmm. Like, he admits that he can't do any better, which is why I'm like, if you can admit this, just either decide and try.
The first step is acceptance.
The first step is acceptance, and then you got to try and do something about it. So like, but that's what I like about other villains, that they're like, I'm not gonna try and do any better, so I'm not going to. Like, I can't do any better, so I'm not gonna. Like, those are the villains that I like. His constantly like, I choose the wrong path. I'm gonna do the wrong thing. I'm gonna do the thing that's gonna be darkness on purpose because it's gonna get me what I want, kind of. But then he acts as if he wants to do better for these people in his life. Especially, like, I mean, a woman should not be a therapist for her man, in general. The woman should not be the moral center for the man, in my opinion.
No, God, oh, no.
So, like, him constantly relying on Belle to bring out the best in him, he should want to be better because it's the right thing to do. And, like, honestly, and Regina's not wrong in that if even Balefire can't bring out the best in him, who will? Mm-hmm. Like, Regina's, most of her redemption is for her son. Most, yes, if not all of it, is for her son. And I find that to be a much stronger method for redemption.
Well, the love of a mother is the first love we ever know.
It is. And I feel like just with the love for your child being kind of like your reason for redemption or your reason for doing better, it's stronger in that kids are less, I mean, this isn't the best, like, kids aren't gonna leave usually. Like, adults, like, usually when you mess up in romantic love with adults, if they've decided they have had enough, they can leave.
That's called a boundary.
That's called boundary setting. And like, to be, that's the thing of like adults. That's the thing is, like, adults can't be abandoned. Adults have cars, but kids, at least, I feel like there's a stronger connection there, mm-hmm, for your child, that you're gonna actually try better. Oh yeah, personally,
if you don't, then like that's another comment on your moral compass.
Exactly. So like But the thing is, like, it's a stronger motivation is what I wrote down. It's a stronger motivation of parental love over romantic love, especially because adults can see past your bullshit.
Uh-huh.
Kids usually can't. I mean, like, Neil probably could and does, but which probably is why it's not working.
Yeah.
For Rumple, because Nail can see past his bullshit, which just means that he hasn't done the necessary work yet to actually like do what he should be doing to be better.
Which is, just done by making better decisions.
Yeah, by actively choosing to be better for the greater good and, accepting your fate and what it is.
He's power hungry, so.
He is. I mean, I've said this before. It's very much addict behavior. He kind of, especially centuries in with this magic, he doesn't know how to behave he doesn't know how to live without it. He really doesn't.
He was considered weak for so long, and then now he's like, but I'm powerful now. If I go back to being weak, no one's going to see me in a good way. And it's like, not necessarily.
Because he never tried to learn how to get any courage or power without magic. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't think he can do anything without it anymore, which is
ironic since he used a cane to beat a man instead of magic.
Yeah, well, I guess he's a fan of that now.
Like, that just came to mind. I'm like, wait a minute, then why is he beating people? He has magic.
CGI budget, they need to save it for later in the season.
Yeah, they had to save it for that finale.
No, they really did.
No, they really did? Oh, my God.
That finale really does have a fairly high CGI budget.
They're like, okay, just take your aggression out. It's okay. Like, everybody's got to let some steam out from time to time. That's just
exactly
his choice of activity.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's also, here's the thing, is it does kind of mirror when he beat up Mo with the same cane.
Oh, you're right.
For the same woman, but for different reasons.
Ooh, okay.
So, like, with Mo, he's beating him up, like, almost as protective. It's both protective of Belle, but again, for different reasons. In that he's beating up Mo as revenge because he thinks Mo basically killed Belle before he finds out that she's not dead. In this case, it's more of like, you know what, you're gonna hit on her all the time. You're gonna do that. You're gonna, disrespect me by doing this. Like, I'm done being on this behavior, and he just starts whacking them.
I feel weird with he has control issues, which is very obvious.
Yes,
but he's got this weird control over Belle, and I don't like it because even in like the original story, it was a love story, not a control story. Like, love does not equal that type of control, and it makes me feel icky. And as a survivor, I don't like it. Like that's probably one of the big reasons I'm not a huge fan, as well as like the whole like weird crocodile thing or whatever with Rumble. But like, I don't like this behavior. It makes me extremely uncomfortable.
No, it's well, I mean, he really does lean into those traditional values because, again, to be fair, he is 200 years old.
I mean, I know. I just hate it.
It's not good. I did write in my notes, a case could be made for Rumble, even though Gold sucks at wooing Lacey in general. Because like you said before, with him missing the arrow, because the point with the arrow is that an arrow shot from that bow will always hit its target, and he misses, and that's the thing. And then after that's him creating the library for her at the very end when he says, I better not see a speck of dust collecting in any of these books, which is like it's a very cute moment. That to me is like, that's Bobby and Emily at that point. I'm like watching that, but he kind of sucks at wooing Lacey. Although I will say I loved Lacey and Sneezy being the ones playing pool because they're the only two people in town that have purely curse memories.
Oh.
Everyone else is awake. Sneezy, from the beginning of the season, stepped over the line, and now he still thinks he's just the pharmacist, and they're the only ones with purely cursed memories.
That's cool.
So I liked that they included that aspect of it. But also, Regina is now solely responsible for triggering people's curse memories currently. Ooh. Because she gave Belle the matchbox, and she put David on the path to seeing the windmill in season 1.
Lovely.
We love Regina just kind of playing around with everyone else like little dolls, basically.
And now kiss. Just the right people, please.
The right people. See, it's me. It's just everybody. Just all kiss. Why not?
Okay, that's another discussion for another time.
For another time. Again, we've talked about my mentality with shipping is that it doesn't... What logic? We don't care about...
What limitations do we truly need?
There's no limitations. I don't care anything. Canon plausibility, don't care. Although I did love Granny's line to Lacey. Like, what happened to you? Did you raid the back of Ruby's closet?
Yeah,
to be fair, other than the fact that it's blue, it does look like something that she would be wearing.
Maybe that's why it's in the back. It's not the right color.
That could be it. But my criteria for shipping is criteria not exist.
I steer clear of people who are technically related. That's about it.
I wish I could say that.
But, you can't because it's Once Upon a Time.
If we're gonna go really deep into, the step family connections at that point, I hate when people do that.
Step family, I don't.
At that point, well, because it's, especially when the marriages have dissolved by the time the ships happen.
If you didn't grow up as siblings, doesn't matter.
I really want you to hang on to that until season 3.
Oh, fuck.
I really want you to hang on to that.
I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this. I'm scared.
I love that you said if you didn't grow up as siblings, does it really matter?
I mean, I have those feelings sometimes. Not in my own family dynamic.
No, in fiction. No, in fiction. In fiction. We are very specific in fiction.
My parents are still married, thank goodness.
Same.
Thank goodness. Oh, that would have been really bad. I mean, in fiction. Because if I did have, a stepbrother or something, I'd be like, no, thank you. No.
I definitely at one point wrote it was an RP thread that it was like a meme that you could send someone this emoji and they'll start a thread with that kind of prompt, and it was taboo relationships.
Ooh.
Or that kind of thing, but it was none of them were actually incest. Luckily, it was just other kinds of weird forbidden situations. Relationships. So there was one that was step sibling, and a couple of friends and I wrote Snow and David, or Mary Margaret and David, however you wanted to configure it as a step sibling relationship. And I'm like, it was fun.
That could make sense. That makes sense though. If it was
that kind of does make sense.
Because then you got to bring in the royalty aspect of it.
Yeah, you could have that aspect. We did all kinds of configurations. There was a royalty aspect. There was a contemporary AU situation, stuff like that.
Hey, we don't kink shame here.
We don't kink shame. The limit again. The shipping
limit does not exist.
The limit does not exist on shipping. We do.
How many references can we make in one episode?
Someone just needs a clicker at this point.
Right?
Anytime you hear a reference to something that isn't from Once Upon a Time, but even then, honestly, it's 9. I would say 80% of the time, it's Mean Girls.
Mean Girls, and lately Bob's Burgers. We'll do the non-canonical a lot with them. Yeah. I can't. That is now a thing. It has to go on a T-shirt. Non-canonical.
And then I make the Simpsons and the SpongeBob references. Also, there's that.
Oh, I forgot to tell you. This is funny for everybody, but I work in a minor league baseball park, and every night now, whoever's in charge of our jumbotron thingy keeps doing a SpongeBob scene, and it's the hello, this is Patrick, and every freaking time I turn and I'm sitting there like fucking Lauren. Every time, because as soon as he plays that, it'll be 9:00 at night, and I'm just like, "Damn it, Lauren!" But it's not you. It's not you.
No, this is Patrick.
Oh shit!
You left it wide open there.
I really did, but I didn't realize it. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh wait, we're talking about Once Upon a Time.
We are talking about Once Upon a Time. But yeah, this episode, like I said, this episode is up. There's parts of it that I really enjoy, but most of it is this one's. Again, it's still kind of a filler episode. It's meant to bridge that gap. It's obviously Belle getting her cursed memories back, at least, or getting some level of personality is important to the plot. But most of the episode, and I just start yelling about the continuity in this episode, and that there isn't
none.
I've already talked about the Robin Hood thing. When I was watching it, I think I texted you, or I think we might have still been bunny doubling when I watched it. That Belle's still in her gold yellow dress, but the curtains are open, and she very clearly opens them once she's shifted to the blue outfit. So I wrote down, just watch your own show, writers. But this was the thing, and you were having fun watching me with this. The map.
Oh yeah, we were talking, and I just remember you going, "Oh my God, there's a map! There's a map!" And I started singing the song from Dora.
I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map. So there, we do see very briefly a map of Storybrooke, because Greg has been pinning the different places he's seen magic throughout town, and I was able to figure out one of the points is meant to be Regina's house from when he filmed Regina and Snow on her porch, because I could tell it said Mifflin Street, but it was so hard. Even I zoomed in, I couldn't really see anything, and I couldn't figure out where Granny's was supposed to be. It was just I need a map that I can actually read that makes sense, but that would require the show to actually have created an actual map.
Why wouldn't they? That would have been awesome.
because they use 2 towns for the entirety of Storybrooke, so they're like, it's not like they could just like take the map of Steveston and call it a day, because I'm pretty sure Regina's house and like the town and like the town hall building are one town, the main street with Granny's and the pier are all Steveston, and so like it's like when you configure it all together, there is no cohesive map, there is no cohesive town, and the whole town, as we've done the math already, is like less than 2 miles in diameter. So like a map doesn't exist. It's not possible.
We can just make it up, make believe.
I really wish I could do that.
And then you could fit all your how you want everything to actually work in Storybrooke, but how it doesn't.
I would love that, but like much like with like the timeline, I'm like the thing they shift around where things are supposed to be depending on the episode with the timeline, because like this is one where I yell about the continuity all the time of like, this timeline just doesn't work, and this episode is a pain in my ass for a multitude of reasons.
I remember you just yelling, "Where do I put it?"
I think I put it, the only place I can put it is right after the first scene of Price of Gold, of Skin Deep, because that's where this is. But the issue here is Robin is stealing the a fairy wand. It's the wand that Rumple took from Cinderella's fairy godmother in 104, which is very close to when the curse is cast. This episode, I placed it about 9 years prior. I put this right after when she gets, indentured to Rumple, because that makes sense to put it right after Skin Deep. But then you also have the factor of Robin and Marion being pregnant. We're going to see the kid in the beginning of season 3 for undisclosed reasons. The kid's only about 3. So is this right before the curse gets cast? Is this well before the curse gets cast? Is this 3 years before the curse gets cast?
I don't know. They don't either, apparently, but I don't know.
They don't either. Like, I was listening to our episode that went out today, which was the one about Queen of Hearts, and I mentioned that Lana said she had her own little timeline working, and I'm sure hers is more accurate than mine, but to be fair, she's only tracking her own stuff, I would assume. It's so much easier if you were to track, like, Regina. Her timeline actually does make sense, because not too much of her stuff gets wibbly-wobbly, but, like, other characters, it's so hard to keep it together.
And it's just going to get worse, because this is only season 2.
This is only season 2. All right. So what did you score this episode?
So I gave plot 8.
Okay.
Because I could see that there were some issues going on. I was so confused through some of it. Of like, wait, when did this happen? Why is this happening now? Robin Hood's coming out of nowhere. Like, what's going on? So I was a little... Like, it was good, but there were parts that I'm like, okay. And then character and personal, I gave both 9. So it's a 26.
Wow.
So I like Lacey, and there was a pretty man, and then they brought back another pretty man. So I have problems, okay?
We all have problems. It's okay.
It's okay.
I did not give it that.
I had a feeling.
For plot, I give it a 4.
Holy fuck. Okay. Well, I didn't know about the other things though that happened later on.
I'm aware. Like, for me, it's the timeline continuity. I couldn't do it. And like, and to be fair, like, other than her getting the Lacey memories, not a whole lot happens in this episode. It's just, this is not particularly plot heavy, nor is it a plot that I particularly enjoy.
I just like Lacey.
Yeah, which is fair, which is why character gets a 6.
Yeah.
I like Lacey. I like Regina. And she's got a lot of fun one-liners that I wrote down, which is why this also gets an 8 for personal.
Okay.
So this gets an 18.
I mean, it can definitely show how, like, once again, the just now watching and long-time viewer, though, because I have no idea what's coming. So for me, I'm like, okay, this is not bad. For you, it's
exactly.
What the fuck have you done? Why is it like this? Like, why?
You took a perfectly good timeline and you gave it anxiety.
I hope that anybody who's listening to this, if you're having a bad day, you're welcome.
Like, you're welcome. To be fair, he's always good on Mondays. Someone's probably having a shitty Monday somewhere,
right? You're welcome. We've brightened your Monday.
Exactly. But like, because like Regina is, again, like you said, Regina in boots. It's a good outfit.
That's all I wrote.
That whole scene with her and that scene, I don't remember that's one that I've done an amateur ADR for, which I've called this various things before. I'll clarify what I used to call bad impression voiceovers. I'm now calling amateur ADR because I'm doing it in a different method. Also, I'm not focusing so much. I mean, I'm doing impressions, but the focus is more on me doing like the dubbing, because ADR, for those who do not know, is called automated dialogue replacement, which in actual production is usually when they have the actor go in and like basically redub themselves over the audio because they need a crisper, cleaner dialogue audio to use.
Gordon Ramsay does it a lot.
Gordon Ramsay does it a lot. In this case, it's just me doing it over the show. I have a way of getting like the background sounds if I want to do it that way, or I can do it my other way where I just record it with my phone. But I've done this one before, and I've done it a couple times. I did it recently, but it's just, it's like, what have you done with Belle? I'm sorry, do I look like a one-handed pirate with a pistol? You know who shot her. And then she just keeps going. I don't have this one entirely memorized, like other ones that I do, but I just love at the very end when like they talk about true love's kiss, and like true love isn't the problem, dear. No, sorry. Away isn't the problem, dear. We both know what is. Yes, true love's kiss. I don't think our new resident feels the same way about you as you do her. Then I'll make her. Now there's the charm that you easily woo a lovely young lady. She'll most certainly fall in love with you at first sight. Oh wait, that didn't happen, did it? She's just eating it up the whole time. That's a fun one to do just because the two of them are so, like, their voices are so different. And Regina just gives no shits. Like, her voice for me is the easiest. Her voice for me is the easiest to do when either when she's kind of laying the evil queen voice on really thick, like the scene with her and Belle in 112, or when she does not care. That's like the times that her voice is like the easiest for me to do, because she's just like, she just doesn't care anymore. And it's just like, she's so free, and it gives me more space to be a little freer with the way that I do the impression.
And it's just fun being the villain.
It's so much fun being the villain. Like, honestly, like if I ever act in things, like the villain characters, it's just like, it's so much more fun that way. Because like you get to like do the things that you think about in life. Like in real life, like you think about them and you think about saying them, but you don't, kind of thing.
Oh, people do that?
Well,
I've got a mouth on me. I just say it.
Well, this is something, so I'll probably bring this back in when we talk about the Queens of Darkness in season 4, but this was one of my favorite things ever, because the panel of the women got asked what they like about playing a villain, and Kristen Bauer's thing, she's like, no, it gives you the freedom to do the things that, like, in real life you think about but you don't say them. And she's like, because I imagine myself like when I'm on hold with like, a computer helpline, someone somewhere like in India or whatever, and like they ask you, like, she's like, I hate they have to ask your name like 3 times. They go like, hello, who am I talking to? Kristen. Like, is your name Kristen? Yes. Can I call you Kristen? No. And she just keeps going. They're like, oh, would you like to be called Trixie? She's like, I want to imagine that like if that Maleficent doing this would be like, my face would be like, some kind of PTSD, like, this person has like traumatized me as being their helpline person. She's like, it's just the way she's like, I love playing these characters that let you do these things. You get to be so much freer, and that makes you much nicer when you come home.
Yeah. I have to say though, for weird calls, we did have a good answer to that though. For the longest time, we would just hand this phone to the child.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah. It turns out when you get spam calls a lot, handing the phone over to a 3-year-old, they hang up pretty quick because it's gibberish.
There you go. Tip for all you parents out there: if you get spammers, give the phone
hand
to your
the phone to your toddler and just leave it on speaker. It's so funny. It is so funny. My son was delayed speech and still couldn't really talk all that much, but he would speak his mind. It just didn't make any sense.
And that's important. It's important to let the toddler speak his mind, even if the spammer has no idea what they're saying.
Exactly. Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Bob's Burgers Season 5, Episode 9, Speak Easy Writer, and Season 5, Episode 10, Late Afternoon in the Garden of Bob and Louise. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you'd like to join our book club, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Lauren and Katie and edited by Lauren.